Welcome to the CXL feed, where we're going to be walking through a great example of a welcome flow for a huge D2C brand, Grind, who are doing over 20 million a year. I'm Daphne Tideman. I'm a growth advisor and consultant for wellness and eco-friendly D2C brands, and I'm going to lead you through this journey and highlight all the things they do well and all the opportunities that I think there's also to improve to inspire your own welcome flow, so that when you're getting new email subscribers on your list, you're doing the best you can to warm them up and hopefully get them to purchase your product. The brand we're going to be looking at is a brand called Grind. I did this analysis together with Lola Highlander, a junior growth strategist that works together with me. We both really like this brand. We've both tested and used this brand in the past, and they've been growing rapidly in London and the UK. And they're known for basically being kind of a London-based brand that's part of their proposition, as well as a sustainable alternative. I also think a lot of their growth is related to their strong branding and brand identity, as a lot of people associate this baby pink with them and have this idea around them being kind of this London barista brand. For their welcome flow, we looked at 6 emails that we defined as their welcome flow. We will say we don't have the inside scoop on it. We haven't seen their actual email account, so we can't guarantee that this is exactly how it is, but this is what it seems to be. One email we're pretty confident was a campaign email rather than a flow email, and that's email 4, which was more seasonal. But we'll see that when we get there. We'll start with the first half of the welcome flow. This is the very typical introduction email. We're talking here about why they should stay on the email list, as well as the offer that got them to sign up for that list. From there, we're moving on to more talking about the differences of the other brands, helping people choose Grind and why they should choose it. And then the third email is much more on trust and social proof. And I think it's a really great example of not doing just surface level trust, but really creating that strong trust factor. So with email 1, what I felt that they did really well is have a really clear pain point. They really addressed it in simple terms, very easy to read and understand. We also really liked the fact that they talked about why to subscribe to the email list, because a lot of people might sign up for the discount and then want to unsubscribe. But the result is that you just get new signups that aren't a high quality. By really focusing on the value of the newsletter, you're driving down hopefully the long-term unsubscribe rate, which is helping to build a great relationship with those subscribers. However, there's a few things that we feel like they could have done better. The deal, very standard, 10%, welcome 10 code. I don't know about you, but I've tried welcome 10 on every single website I've bought from with a lot of success. It's a very standard code and it's a very standard deal. Feels like they could have been a bit more creative with that. And also when you go to the website, there's a huge overflow of different options, and it's very hard to understand which blend might be right for you. With something like coffee, where the taste is so key, guiding them to the right product for them with that first offer is really, really important. We then move on to email 2. This comes 2 days later, and it's got, again, this clear, concise brand story. Better coffee made in London. Apparently London's a barista capital. Who knew? Yeah, watch out, Melbourne, because that was the original coffee capital, apparently. So they also have this great comparison chart here. I really like it. It's very simple, easy to read. I don't like it as much when a competitor basically hates on it, like if they hate on the competitor with everything being wrong, kind of implying that Nespresso is not doing anything right. For me, that doesn't give it as much credibility as acknowledging what they do right. And the other thing is they're comparing their discounted starter price to a ongoing subscription of Nespresso. So it's a bit different offers being compared in terms of price. Nonetheless, I feel like they've executed it very well. These things can become easily overwhelming on an email, especially on mobile where you don't have much space. And I also really like that they highlighted, hey, we don't just have pods, we also have beans. That was one of my first questions too. I was like, can I use it with my machine? Yes or no? So overall, really clean email, really nicely walking through all these different things, clear call to actions. With everything, there's always a what could be better. When you go to the website, they have all these different blends. And the result is that it's quite hard to work out which blend is right for you, because you're clicking through all these different options and it's like, what will I actually like? I've noticed that they have it slightly different now on a different page where you scroll through a whole list, but it still doesn't feel very easy in all honesty. And I'm sorry, I love coffee, but maybe I'm just not a good enough coffee connoisseur. I have no idea what black treacle tastes like. Burnt sugar doesn't sound too great to me personally. And it also just feels very inaccessible language. Yes, they say a little bit about like, hey, it's bittersweet, but I feel like they could have done so much more to guide you with that flavor profile to really help you figure out, which flavor is right for you, which one are you likely to like, because there is a lot of choice and you want to help people find out which coffee is right for them. Email free, one of my favorites personally, just because they got the social proof so right. They not only did native Trustpilot, which is a huge review platform in the UK, as a native viewing of what those reviews look like, but they also got in-depth reviews. They got human imagery in that header. They mentioned a number of reviews, and they also mentioned Soho House, which is a very well-known exclusive club in the UK. So they've got all these social proof and also showing a location. I've done tests with this for other clients that showing that you have a physical location can actually also help improve conversion rate because of the fact that it builds that trust and credibility. So overall, feel like they did that really well and topped it off nicely with very practical and directive CTAs. What could have been better? Well, they've been mentioning the app quite a bit already in the email flows, and they continue to mention it and all because it's probably a part of their footer. It just doesn't feel like maybe the right thing to push here, in my opinion, because they're also pushing for subscriptions when you're going to the website. So it just feels like a bit much. I do like that they finally explained why to download the app and the benefits. And I can imagine if they're getting a lot of people going to the offline store, that the app might help with that as well, because they might be more keen to use that to get discounts buying offline. It just felt a bit strange at first for me that a coffee brand had an app. We have that seasonal email, which highlights gift sets. Then we have a focus on sustainability. Again, really nice email. Second favorite, I would say, of the flow. And then that final second push. So that final email is really a don't forget your discount code, very typical. I always like to include this in a welcome flow, and I'll often do a resend or a last call, especially if it has an urgency, like an expiry date. If brands feel like that might be too much, then I'll just basically send it to the non-opens with a different subject line and a few little tweaks. But it's a great way to just get some people over the line at the end. But let's first start with the seasonal email. You can probably guess when we analyze this flow, because we've got lovely little hearts going on here, Valentine's Day, February. I like the seasonal relevancy. I see that working really well. I'm often quite cautious to get seasonal relevancy going in between an email flow, but they seem to have made sure that it wouldn't be sending on the same day as the other emails, so that's great. They probably have smart sending or some version of that on. And I also feel like the copy here is great. It's very playful and descriptive. I also love just a bad pun, like beat a martini to my espresso. The product offerings are also really playful. You can have a coffee candle, didn't know that existed, or a espresso martini making set, love it. It feels like a really nice little email to highlight some alternative options. Again, however, price clarity. I know high-end brands are hesitant to put the price in there because they don't want people to be just focusing on that. But with something like this where I'm choosing a gift, it's quite hard to compare because they're individual product pages. There's again this focus on the app, and I know it's probably just footer, but for me it just feels a bit strange that they're so pushing this before I've even bought. Lola, however, did have a great point. She said it feels less salesy than be pushing endlessly products, and it gives this nice community feel to it. So there's definitely value in that, and I'm assuming that they've tested it if they're including it in there. Email 5, sustainable focus. Why I like this email so much is because a lot of brands say they're sustainable, but they don't get concrete. Whilst with Grind, I really get the feeling that they're focused on it specifically. They have their own foundation. They're removing plastic from the ocean. They're showing they're compostable. They show exactly how many pods they've removed, or at least probably an estimation of it. But, 43 million, that sounds like a lot. There's this really clear value proposition Grind here. What could be better, however, is the fact that they could have linked to the website for more information. They have this great page on their website where they talk about why and what they do in terms of sustainability. And I feel like it's a missed opportunity to link to that. It's really nice to link people to other parts of your website to get them back on your site in a welcome flow, and also to build that trust and credibility. If sustainability is important to that audience, it doesn't make sense to not include that link here. And instead, they've linked to the app and now also a B2B proposition. But there's little help on choosing what the right blend is for them. And for me, again, that feels like a missed opportunity, because am I really going to recommend it for my company if I haven't tried it myself? And it's nice to know about it. It's great to know about it, but which blend should I choose? I feel like there's so much more to the final email, very straight to the point, got a nice visual again with the delivery to the door. 7 days later, it's a bit of a longer wait, but that's quite usual for that last push. And it's always good to have that extra reminder, as I mentioned earlier. What could be better here, though, is it says like here, just for you, okay, offers just for you. And then it's welcome 10. Doesn't feel personal. There's no expiry date. I could use it at any point. And again, show more coffee and options rather than just the app. Again, you can tell I'm getting annoyed by the app. So overall, what you can take away from Grind is they have a really clean design, very good at social proof and the value proposition, bringing that across. And they have strong copy throughout it, very clear call to actions. And there's a lot you can take away from it. In my opinion, what they could be doing better is pulling less in different directions. If they really want to push, for example, for the subscriptions as well as one-time purchase, highlight why people should subscribe. Subscriptions are a product in themselves already, as is an app, as is a B2B proposition. And it just feels like all the departments were pulling them in different directions here. I also feel like they could have had a stronger offer. And what annoys me the most is I know they have a stronger offer, because the reason I bought was actually for this limited edition tin. I saw that they were offering this. I loved the design of it. It was made by, I think, a tattoo artist. And you can see it here with my coffee machine. And it convinced me to buy it to get this free tin with my first bag. Offers like this don't devalue the product and also feel more timely, because I didn't know how much stock they had of it when they were stopping it. But I really wanted to make sure I got my hands on one of those tins, and I still use it. So I'm a walking advertisement in my house, even though I've switched to a different coffee brand in the meantime, because I can't help but trying all of them. It doesn't really support the choice, the whole email flow. They could have guided people better to help them make those choices along the way. So that would be another great opportunity for them. The key takeaways for your flow is make sure you have that clear initial offer. Be protective of your welcome flow. Don't let every department or every person try to push in what they want in there. A good tip is to write out in one page what you want to communicate there. And if it feels too long or there's too many different points, cut it back down. What do you really want to communicate to someone who's just subscribing to your email? And here we're really talking about non-customers. I used a different email than the one I bought with to really make sure I was getting the non-customer flow to see how they would handle it in trying to get me to buy for the first time. Build in urgency. It works really well to get people to buy. And there's really no excuse for personalizing that. If you are going to do a discount code, it's so easy. If you're using a tool like Klaviyo, it has a direct integration with Shopify. You can create custom codes with expiry dates that get started on the moment that people are receiving it. It's very, very easy to do, and you can even integrate it to your pop-up. Also, get those clear CTAs. I think they do that really well. Too many welcome flows have just learn more, shop now. It's nice to have these variations. And make sure that you're also helping your customer with making their choice and guiding them along the way so that they don't get stuck in decision paralysis, but you help them along the way. I hope you found this analysis interesting and can use this to start upgrading your own welcome flow and converting more users.